Hi, Mats.
Hi
So this
again.
is hi again. We missed the live button just
Yeah.
1 minute ago. So
We. I did.
yeah, and we have Sebastian Hönel as well. I'll add him to the stream. Hello, Sebastian.
Hi.
Hello, you
Yeah,
too.
a bit unplanned. We and Mats didn't think you were going to join in. So
Okay,
but just hang on and be here. So
good.
uh,
I
so
think
Mats,
you will do the
have
talking.
a slide to share. Should we start with sharing the slide, and then we can just go through all the points
Yeah.
in the slide?
Yeah. So the introduction then, and we start with. Wow, that's we
Yeah,
who works with the course.
exactly. And you can see 3 of us 4 that are going to be in this course in this stream at this moment. So I'm going to be I'm the course coordinator and the examiner of this course, well, Department of Computer Science in Kalmar campus. I know it doesn't matter for you, but we are in different places in our 2 campuses. And then you Mats,
I'm just an extractor.
it's not just. And then
And
Sebastian.
yep.
Yes, I will also check the assignments and maybe have a couple of seminars if there's interest from the student sides.
There will be, I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I already saw some questions in the chat today about RESTful services. So, but that got answered pretty well, I think. Otherwise, I think we should get together and brainstorm a bit what might be of interest to the students, and then we can have some more interactive and not just the videos.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we have Johan Hagelbeck. He's not here with us in this stream today. He's actually working at Fort Knox at a company, and he designed this course, was it 2 years ago, Mats, about that
I think
time.
so.
And we are still able to use him for this course, which is a great thing for both us and for you students, which makes this pretty much a complete team, I would say. But Johan will not be live in any lectures, but he will be on Slack. So he will answer questions on Slack and be a part of the course only by text messaging. But that is we who are working in this course. Yeah. And well, the course syllabus, the main field of study, you might have already seen this, the computer science, first level, and it's 7.5 credits. And maybe we want to mention something about the prerequisites, because this is from experience as well, Mats, and also it says pretty clear in the course description, I hope. So, but maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, Mats.
First of all, this is not a course where you will learn how to write web application. You must need to know how to write a client. You must need to know how to write a server using a RESTful architecture. We will not mention any of this in the course.
And that means that, of course, you might get help, but this is not a course where you learn to write web application. Or so you need, if you don't have that knowledge already, it might be a bit of a steeper curve for you, a very steep curve, or maybe not impossible. But we're just saying it right away, so you know what we expect of you. The course is, well, that's the prerequisite for the course, sort of. but we will help you, of course. So if you ask questions, we will sure help as good as we can. But we won't spend any time on that particular subject in the course. So maybe we don't have to mention, Mr. Sebastian, that is your expertise, isn't it? Like the RESTful part.
Yes, I have experience in implementing web applications and all these protocols, and yeah, I think many questions that may come up there can be of help.
That's great. So yeah, and then the objectives. Well, Mats, I know that you summarize this. You may actually take the lead on this.
Okay, this is copied right through the syllabus, and 4 key points. Apply principle for data extraction and processing data from the web is one thing. Supervised and unsupervised learning is another thing. Search engines and recommendation systems. There are the 4 main objectives of the course.
Yeah. And we might skip to the next slide. I think that this is more or less I wouldn't say more important parts. Everything we talk about in this course introduction is obviously important. But what is very important is to find the right information, and where you find that is on the course website. The course website, as you see the address over here, some of you might have used Moodle before. We aren't using Moodle in this course at all. So we are using GitLab and CoursePress. So CoursePress, lnu.se, where you see the web link, that is the homepage for the course. So it's static information on that page. And then the platform where you're going to hand in all your assignments will be hosted on our own GitLab platform. And this is the same thing as we talked about before, like in that you are supposed to sort of know these things, how to start working with GitLab. It's sort of a prerequisite for the course, but we will obviously help you out there as well.
There are some guides regarding how to use Git and GitLab, how to submit assignments and the project. So I think it's okay with the information there. And
at the lower end, you can see there is a Slack channel name, 2DV515. And I guess that will be the single most important thing to check out, because that is where we are going to monitor for questions and obviously keep all discussions on all topics. Please try to think about sending, if you have any questions of any kind that is not related to your own grade or participation, please ask it in the open channel. So we don't want to see direct messages on how to do this and that and so on. Please keep all questions in this Slack channel, because there is always someone else that has the same question as you. And you also are encouraged to help each other out. So if you know the way, well, please help your fellow students. Should we add anything more to that communication?
I don't think so. Well, you said that we won't use my Moodle in any way, but that's quite not true, because we're going to book the oral exam time slots.
Yeah, it's good that you thought about this. Yeah, we're going to use that as a booking tool, but like all the course information is on the CoursePress site. But that information, you will find it on the course website. So when you want to book your time for the oral presentation, that is done on the Moodle site. That is because it is a pretty good planning tool for booking examinations.
Well, I don't think this would be any kind of problem, because between all these different tools that are cross-links. So if you're at CoursePress, you will find at the top right, for example, links to GitLab, links to my Moodle, links to the schedule, and so forth.
Yes. Should we move on? There is some recommended reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
believe it or not.
yeah. And I would say that the last book of these two, The Mining of Massive Data Sets, that book is free. So that is at least a treat for you. You will be able to download that in PDF from the link you see. And it's actually just a short Google away and you'll find your way. The first book, well, you might be able to buy it or find it if you're, well, if you know where to find it. But there is some recommended reading. And in this subject, I would say that there are so many books out there and there's so many resources when we're talking about machine learning. And there are new things coming out, I would say, every month, every day. So you are also encouraged to try and find other resources, but please start to stick with the recommended reading list. It will make things easier as they are referenced also in the lectures. So. Yes.
Well, the course is structured and it's given by the course website, I would say. So here you find 7 lectures, the 4 assignments that are mandatory, and the project also.
And that is something also that we might want to mention because you can choose one of 4 predefined projects. So the first assignments, they are, well, you have to do them and there are instructions, but then for the project, you may choose a project out of a couple of predefined projects. So you actually have a possibility to explore an area which you find more interesting than another area. Should we talk anything about programming languages or any recommendations on that, Mats?
We wait a bit with that one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And, well, I don't think, should we talk about this a little bit, maybe? Because there are, as I said, 7 lectures, and the first one is named Introduction, where Johan Hagelbeck is talking about the course, but this is an old recording. I think it's about 2 years old, or maybe even 3. So, of course, there will be things he's mentioning that isn't true anymore because we change it. For example, we don't work with GitHub anymore, then we work with GitLab. We submit the project we create in a different way, for example, and maybe he's mentioned different dates and so forth. But well, I think it's important what he has to say anyhow. So that's why we keep this.
Exactly. That's the important dates and times there. And these, I would say, in order to follow the course in a good manner, you are supposed to try to keep all these important dates and do your assignments according to the time schedule we have set up. And everything is also, it's a submission deadline, obviously, for your project. And that will...
Monday.
Yeah. And then there is an oral exam. So you will speak to some of us, I would say to Fredrik, Mats, or Sebastian, or maybe, well, in any order. But that is something that is also very important to have in mind, is that we will ask you questions and we will check that and how you thought about when you were designing your project, your assignment. So the oral exam is not it's both the submission and the oral exam for each. So we will meet plenty more, I would say. And the tool for that, we have usually used Slack for this.
Yeah, but I think we will use Zoom.
I think so too. And in my experience, Slack has been really bad at.
Oh, well, that's not mine. That's not mine. But well, regardless. So I think we will use Zoom.
Yeah.
For oral exams. And well, 20 minutes. It's what's said, and that it has to be maximum 20 minutes.
Yeah. Now, how many students have signed up for the course? When we checked last, it was more than 30 or?
Well, 49.
49, yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I just checked.
So that means that the time is very limited for us, as there is a lot of oral examinations. So that takes time. Yep. But it also gives good quality to the course. That's why we try to stick to it.
So every second week there are a deadline, and then there are an oral exam. Except for the last week, where there are a deadline and oral exam for a project. But it's a tight schedule.
And how much time are you supposed to put each week, if we talk about like a general? So we have 7.5 credits and it's 10 weeks, so it's more or less half time.
Well, 20 hours a week.
Yeah. So that is what you're, like a normal student is supposed to manage,
Yeah.
more or less, give or take. But just to give you the view, but I suppose that all of you students have many credits since before, and you know how it works. But you need to spend some time doing these things. Okay, is there anything we want to add to that? No? Yep.
Yep. You already mentioned this.
Yeah. And just talking about, I mean, I'm a Python person, so whatever I want to do, I think Python. And I know that, Mats, you're not a Python person, you're JavaScript and C#.
C# and
Yeah.
Java and well.
So, and then Sebastian, I don't know what actually haven't asked you, but what's your preference?
I have no preference. So for me, even PHP works fine if you want to do that. So yeah. I've used C#, Java, Python, JavaScript, TypeScript. Yeah. Please don't use something exotic, I would probably say. Something we don't use, like Ada or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that many of the examples, I think that Johan Hagelbeck, which designed the course, I think he was basing a lot of stuff on Python, at least when he was doing this. And a lot of these tools are, I would say, very more or less accessible in Python when you're talking about machine learning. So if you don't know what your preference is and you're in like sort of into these areas new, I would think that Python is a good way to start, at least. You have, but the main point here is that there is not an examination on which programming language or whatever workflow you have. It's the assignments and projects itself. So it's a little bit up to you to choose the best tool for the job. Yes, and should we mention anything more about this?
Yeah, maybe. Just a second or two. Well, the course website has a study guide, and you find some guides here. And for example, submit an assignment as an emerge request. That's the way you submit your assignments and your project. So that's a thing I think you need to take a look at, because we're using Git And if you don't know anything about Git, you have some more guides regarding Git. So take a close look at those. Because if you don't know Git, you don't know how to create a merge request, well, then it's quite hard to submit your assignments and your project.
Yeah. And maybe we want to just mention the reasoning why are we using GitLab and why are we using Git and why are we not just sending in your files in a zip file to a My Moodle platform? Would you like to elaborate on that, Mats?
No.
No.
No. So we found it's a great tool for doing this kind of thing. Why should we work in a different way than they do in the industry?
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. And I think that the answer is what Mats said, is that we try to align the education as much as the same tools that you use when you work in the industry should be the same tools that we use when we are designing courses and doing examinations in courses. So, and the difference between an oral examination and handing in your project now shouldn't be that much of a difference if you're working in a project and you're like giving a project report to your boss or something like that. Obviously, there is a difference, but you get the point, I guess.
Yeah. And that's it, I think.
Yeah. And you have a nice flower behind you. Is it lemon or?
Yeah, it's a fake one.
It's a fake one.
Yeah, fake it until you make it.
Yeah. So in that case, I think that you will all meet us you will meet Sebastian, and we have talked about a couple of 2-3 seminars. And Sebastian, you might want to ask the people in the Slack group if there are any particular subjects that you want to address. But if you don't get any input, you might condense some material, as I understood it, from the pre-recorded lectures.
Yeah.
And you will hand out these time slots in distribute that in the Slack channel, sort of. So just keep keep your eyes open, and we will distribute that information. And otherwise, you will see us in the oral examinations, sort of. Otherwise, this course it should be pretty straightforward. It should be designed in a way that you should be able to follow all the tasks on your own, more or less.
So let's start with the first lecture.
Yeah.
And happy coding.
Yeah. So, if there are any questions, ping us on Slack, and we will address them. And if there is anything more to say, I guess that we'll just call this course introduction to an end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.